introduction. Let's give the Rough Eye Boys a round of applause for that great pledge. If I don't use the mic, can you all hear me still? That's okay? No? No? Okay. If you guys don't mind, I don't think it's on. I need the hammer, yes. Or power button. Check 1, 2. Yes. Hey. If you guys don't mind, what I'd like to do is just talk to you for about 5 or 8 minutes about what I've been doing in Washington and in the district in the last year and 10 months that you've given me the honor of serving as your congressman. And then open it up to questions and answers, talking about jobs, the economy, debt, Medicare, whatever you want to talk about. I'd be happy to take whatever questions you have. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
I feel like I'm sitting here in the dark. This is the first time I've done a dark one up in front. This is a little new for me, so we'll go with the punches. Just quickly, when I first got to Washington, we haven't even been sworn in yet. And as our House GOP conference met, I introduced a resolution at that conference to ban earmarks for the 112th Congress. And I thought that was important because I thought earmarks had gotten so out of control that people had expanded them beyond, I think, what the founders could have ever anticipated. It did pass easy. We had about a 2-3 hour debate on earmarks. But we did pass that out of the House conference, which in essence means we banned earmarks for the 112th Congress. And I don't think people really notice that too much, but there's been no buyouts on votes, has there? You don't see people getting any Cornhusker kickbacks to support a bill. People are voting for legislation because they agree with it or voting against it because they disagree with it. It's kind of one of those unique changes that I don't think it gets a lot of press, but it's, I think, a positive direction the country's going on earmarks, and I introduced that resolution, number one. Number two, when the session started a little over a year ago, I introduced a bill to send all unspent stimulus money back to the federal coffers to pay down the debt. I thought that was important. I don't think the stimulus had done what had been promised, and so I wanted to send the remaining money back. That bill was incorporated into a larger bill that ended up dying in the Senate, but I thought it was a good bill all the same. I know that money has quickly been spent, so it's not out there for us to access. Over the course of the summer, we passed about 30 jobs bills out of the House that are about increasing the access to the market, accessing capital, improving our ability to go after our own energy resources here in America, whether it's the Keystone Pipeline or the Outer Continental Shelf, streamlining the regulatory process. We did that over the summer. We passed a budget in the House that would, over time, bring the budget actually to balance for the U.S. government. No one else has been doing that. Takes us a while, but we put markers out there as to where we have to go to balance the U.S. budget, not just pay it off, but to balance it. I introduced at the end of last year a bill to freeze federal pay. Okay, federal workers on average make about 16% more than their counterparts in the private sector. So we want to do a 1-year pay freeze to try to bring them more in line. We did something quite remarkable as well. We included members of Congress in the pay freeze. It's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. That passed the House and is now stuck over in the Senate. They can still pick it up. I'm not going to hold my breath though, but still trying to bring parity between the federal government and the private sector. And then finally, have any of you guys heard of congressional insider trading? Yes. Yes, you have. Well, Peter Schweitzer wrote the book called Throw 'Em All Out, and that was the start of the 60 Minutes story. Maybe you might have seen that. When I saw the story come out, I introduced a very simple bill. A bill that would say, listen, if you're a member of Congress, you have to put your assets into a blind trust, so the information you come into contact with, you can't use to personally benefit. And you all may know this, there's a lot of millionaires in Congress. You also may know this too, there's a few of us who are not millionaires. I'm one of them. If you don't do a whole lot of trading, we had an aggressive disclosure rule. You could trade, but every 3 days you had to disclose your trade to the House clerk. So, in essence, if you meet with Bill Gates one day, the next day you're buying Microsoft stock, a couple days later you could all see that your member of Congress was making those trades. And your media would see that you're making those trades. And it's shining light on the whole process of how Congress trades and in what stocks or bonds. And that bill didn't, my bill didn't pass, but a version of it did. But Peter Schweitzer, who wrote the book, who started this whole process, came out and said that our bill was the best bill that goes the furthest to clean up Washington. The Senate passed one version. We were able to modify the Senate version with some of our ideas to strengthen it, to make it more effective. I didn't get all that I wanted, but we did get a lot of our ideas incorporated into the final bill that passed the House, trying to clean up the way Washington works. We now have a version out of the House. There's a different version out of the Senate. We're going to come together in conference and figure out a bill that's going to work. But making sure that Congress is held to the same standard as every other American who deals with information. So that's a few things I've been working on the Washington side in the last year. On the district side, I promised to do a town hall in every county. I've done that last year. We did 20 town halls. We also have done coffees with your congressman. It's kind of a mini town hall over a cup of coffee. You guys might have got my robocalls. We've done quite a few of those, almost 20 of them around the district. And then, and we have those listed on the back of these sheets on your desk, but we also started a mobile office. And it's not as relevant for you in Wausau because we have one of our main offices here. We also have a main office in Superior. But this is an awfully big district. It has all or part of 20 counties. And so we thought it was important to make sure we bring our congressional services to everybody in the district. And we have done that by use of a mobile office, making sure that we're open and accessible and bringing services to everybody. You might recall last fall we did a job fair trying to bring those who are looking for work into contact with those folks who have jobs. It was, I think, one of the most successful job fairs that we've seen in the area, and sometime we're going to do that again this year. We did a small business conference up in Superior. We're going to do that again as well in the Wausau area. We did a forestry conference. Forestry and forest products is a big part of our economy, whether it is coming from the National Forest or we're dealing with our paper mills right here in this area. We're having a difficult time accessing timber off the federal forest. And so we brought in the chief of the Forest Service to engage in a conversation on how we can find a balance of making sure that we have enough timber coming off the federal forest to make sure we can effectively satisfy the needs of our community and the jobs that we have that come from forestry. So I'm trying to bring congressional services and access to everyone in the district. And I guess I never had a chance to have this kind of meeting with my congressman. And so I knew if I ever got the honor, I would make sure you had that ability to come and talk to me. And I guess I know that we have a lot of different beliefs in Wisconsin and around the country. I come from a big family. I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters. And at some point, if people don't talk to each other, if they don't share their ideas, figure out what they agree on and what they disagree on, how do we come together as a community or a state or a country and solve the problems that we face? And this is one of the first parts of engaging in that conversation. And I'm also your closest access point to your federal government. I'm your congressman, and so if you have the ability to share your ideas with me and your thoughts with me, you make me a better representative. I'll share my thoughts with you. But I think that's how we come together as a community and work towards the same goals and beliefs that are going to benefit all of us. So that's why I'm here. Look forward to the conversation we're going to have today. As Randy said, I promise you that I will listen to the questions that you have. I would ask that you listen to my answers. And we can, again, talk about whatever you want. And with that, hopefully I'm not too much over 5 or 8 minutes. But maybe we turn it back over. And just to be clear as well, we have these the question cards. I don't want to know what your question is, but just to make sure that we get a wide variety of topics. If you put your name and where you live in the topic, I want to make sure we get enough topics out there so we don't just get stuck on one issue. We can